Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng's avatar in the dream domain usually stayed in its outer layer, where the impact on the spiritual will was weakest. At the moment, a weaker avatar scouted ahead, while a more powerful avatar followed behind. This powerful avatar possessed 1% of the energy reserves of a world life body Estru body. Phew! Luo Feng's two avatars silently hastened through various independent spaces, and finally reached the deeper areas of the dream domain. The deep layer of the dream domain. Luo Feng became even more cautious. In previous long years, Luo Feng had already explored the deep layer of the dream domain. Here, even an ordinary life form possessed the strength of Emperor Gui Shu, and some leaders were even at the Emperor's level, making crises common. Huh! The Wanfa Tower Master is also looking for me. Luo Feng paused, momentarily stopping his advance. The battle for the territories of the Shi Kingdom thoroughly proved Luo Feng's strength. Although Land of Origin was full of strong individuals, the power Luo Feng had publicly displayed was already one of the strongest below the Emperor level. Following the time-space demon, the Wanfa Tower Master also personally visited Luo Feng, offering similar terms. The Wanfa Tower Master is truly as rumored, quite friendly towards us native cultivators, thought Luo Feng. Among the three alien races, the Two Realms Palace Master was domineering, the Time-Space Demon was unscrupulous, and the Wanfa Tower Master was compassionate and merciful. The Wanfa Tower Master was even willing to instruct many godly kings in their cultivation. The four treasures, they value the first two the most, special life remnants and secret techniques, thought Luo Feng after talking with the Wanfa Tower Master, as his avatar in the dream domain continued to move forward. Special life remnants, there are only two places where they exist. The dark area of the dream domain and the deepest part of the heavenly pillar realm. Since the heavenly pillar realm is completely sealed, finding special life remnants is only possible in the dark area of the dream domain. The heavenly pillar realm was heavily guarded by the two ancient countries, and Luo Feng had no confidence in confronting these two great powers alone. The sealing of the heavenly pillar realm must have been a joint decision by the ancestors of the two ancient countries. Sigh. After a long time, Luo Feng finally arrived at the very end of the deep layers of the dream domain. Up ahead is the dark area. Luo Feng looked at the expanse of darkness ahead, where only his spiritual will could probe. Enter. With a thought. The weaker avatar entered first while the powerful avatar waited a while before following. In the dark area, an invisible, terrifying force enveloped Luo Feng's spiritual will, continuously dragging at his spiritual will. If Luo Feng could not resist, he would completely sink into a dreamy slumber. I need to use about 50 to 60% of my heart force to resist the influence of the dark area, thought Luo Feng. His spiritual consciousness explored the surroundings. The surrounding darkness was incredibly oppressive. Even Luo Feng's, beyond God King level spiritual consciousness, could only probe around tens of thousands of kilometers. Puff! The weaker avatar scouting ahead suddenly flashed with a beam of light, instantly piercing through the avatar. Luo Feng's weaker avatar was obliterated in an instant. However, thanks to the super-strong life force of the 24 Forms life form, it was momentarily restored from nothingness, but just as it was regaining some form, the light flashed again, and once more obliterated Luo Feng's weaker avatar. I saw it, said Luo Feng's weaker avatar upon recovering when it clearly saw the appearance of the light. It was a weapon resembling a silver shuttle. It was just too fast. Within Luo Feng's probing range of tens of thousands of kilometers, a flash of light meant an inevitable hit. So that silver shuttle-like weapon attacks twice, and my weaker avatar is gone. Luo Feng was shocked. This weaker avatar of mine, although low in energy, is still a 24 forms life form. Compared to the powerful avatar in the 10 directions world form, it isn't much weaker. Even an emperor should be able to withstand 2 or 3 strikes. Carefully, Luo Feng proceeded forward. He didn't deploy another weaker avatar, for within the range of tens of thousands of kilometers, discovering an enemy meant a sure hit. Phew! In the dark area, as Luo Feng continued his exploration, the ground was made of a strange black metal endlessly encrusted with secret patterns. Walking on this black metallic ground, Luo Feng continued to search for the special life remnants. Huh! Luo Feng suddenly shuddered. At the boundary of the tens of thousands of kilometers his spiritual will could observe, a light flashed suddenly, and that light had already pierced through Luo Feng's body. The speed was too fast for Luo Feng to respond in any other way. However, this avatar contained 1% energy reserves, equivalent to 30% of a perfect divine body reserve. The energy was vigorous, and the body was resilient. This beam of light, though it pierced through Luo Feng's body, his body rapidly recovered. One strike, obliterating about 1/10,000th of my energy reserve. Luo Feng thought, as his robe spread out into a massive river, transforming into a vast, surging silver river. The vast silver river enveloped the surroundings. Luo Feng stood at the center of the silver river. Swoosh! The silver light flashed. It attacked from beyond the boundary of Luo Feng's observation range. In a flash, it pierced through the obstructing vast silver river, and also through Luo Feng's body, then flew out from the other end of the observation boundary. No way to block, no way to entangle. I can only take the hit. Luo Feng realized the disparity. It's too fast. So fast that at the moment it's launched, time seems to stop. This silver light, in a moment when time stopped, crossed tens of thousands of kilometers. I want to influence the surrounding celestial rules. Even using a bulky body to obstruct is impossible. In an instant, Luo Feng was at a loss. The native life forms of the dream domain were immune to all attacks on the spiritual will, and Luo Feng's spiritual will attack had no effect whatsoever on this silver shuttle. His most powerful move, Great Extinction style, hadn't even started before the opponent's light attacked, crossing from one end of the observation boundary to the other. Luo Feng couldn't even lock onto the target. How to fight? Luo Feng felt befuddled. This silver shuttle, although it seemed to use a simple maneuver, moving back and forth with just one move, it was more terrifying than most emperors. Thank goodness my body has a strong recovery ability, Luo Feng thought. Each time 1/10,000th of his energy reserve was eradicated, the eradicated energy would quickly reintegrate and recover most of it. Swoosh! 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 Suddenly, 6 beams of light flashed and instantly traversed the area Luo Feng was crossing. During this attack, the silver shuttle creatures did not pause, they continuously shuttled back and forth, ferociously slaughtering. 6 silver shuttle creatures. Luo Feng's face changed, and he immediately turned and fled without hesitation. However, in terms of speed, he was far slower than these eerie silver shuttles. Luo Feng had barely sprinted for over a dozen breaths of time. The 6 silver shuttle creatures had madly besieged and slaughtered him over 20,000 times. Phew! Luo Feng narrowly escaped from the dark area and returned to the deeper area. The 6 silver shuttle creatures did not chase him any further. This avatar of mine now has only 1/3 of its energy reserve left, Luo Feng said somewhat fearfully, clearly concerned about his energy reserves. Even if a small universe was fully absorbing energy, it would only manage to absorb the energy reserve of a perfect divine body in about 1 era. The energy lost this time would approximately take 2/10ths of an era to recover. This was also the reason why Luo Feng was reluctant to use his true body. The environment in the dream domain was so harsh. The stronger the avatar, the greater the cost of its death. Monarchs and emperors without avatars dared not venture into dangerously treacherous environments. Dark area. I just entered and encountered 6 silver shuttle creatures. Each silver shuttle possessed emperor-level strength, Luo Feng thought to himself. 6 emperors joining forces in a mad onslaught was terrifying even without understanding formations. Let's try a different entrance. Luo Feng thought for a moment. The powerful avatar immediately started heading back to replenish its energy. Afterward, still maintaining 1% energy reserve, the powerful avatar entered the dark area through another entrance in the deeper area of the dream domain. Merely moments later. My God! This time, Luo Feng's powerful avatar couldn't escape. The life form I encountered in the dark area this time was far too strong. It was much more powerful than the previous silver shuttle creatures. Luo Feng felt a tremble in his heart. It was an enormous creature burning with flames, possessing a black metallic body. The colossal creature was so large that, within the tens of thousands of kilometers that Luo Feng could observe, he could only see part of its head. With one pounce, there was no escape for Luo Feng. Its collisions and claw slashing, Luo Feng was merely severely wounded. But when it swallowed Luo Feng whole, inside its body, the strangulating obliteration meant that Luo Feng's avatar, existing inside it for just a few breaths of time, was completely gone. Once swallowed, it was like entering a huge prison with no escape. One could only wait for death. This already surpassed the normal strength of emperors and monarchs. Luo Feng felt somewhat speechless. Into the dark area twice. One encounter with 6 silver shuttle creatures, each at emperor level. The next with a dark flame creature, yet it was significantly more powerful than the collective force of 6 silver shuttle creatures. How to explore the dark area? It's unexplorable. Luo Feng realized, even if his true body came, encountering the dark flame creature would mean death, or losing most of the energy reserve. I am still not strong enough. I only have one ultimate realm technique that barely counts, the Great Extinction style, and I dare not bring a super secret treasure in. Relying purely on the physical body, in terms of power, is not on par with the native life forms, and I'm even more deficient in other aspects. I need to be more comprehensive. I need more ultimate realm techniques, movement techniques, defense techniques, domain techniques. I need to be well-rounded in many aspects to qualify to explore the dark area, Luo Feng thought, suddenly feeling puzzled. These 3 alien clans, knowing that there are special life remnants in the dark area, must mean that some powerful beings retrieved special life remnants from the dark area at some point. At this moment, Luo Feng realized that there were always bigger fish. Even in the land of origin, there were quite a few stronger than him. With my current strength, going into the dark area means certain death. Better to explore the deeper area. The treasures of heaven and earth in the deep area should be much more abundant than in the middle area, Luo Feng thought. The special life remnants in the dark area were outrageously valuable, yet he was currently unable to attain them. So, he decided to lower his targets and first explore the deeper area. After all, the strong cultivators of the land of origin primarily explore the middle area. Some treasures are worth tens of millions of merit points. The treasures in the deeper area are even more valuable. Maybe I can obtain treasures worth over 1 billion merit points. Treasures worth over 1 billion merit points were also coveted by the 3 alien clans and the 2 ancestors, who always purchased them. With such treasures, he should also be able to trade for what he needed. Dark area. One day, I will come and thoroughly explore your secrets. Luo Feng's avatar in the dream domain began to cautiously explore the deeper area. The degree of danger in the deeper area had clearly dropped significantly. Here, the majority of creatures were at the level of Emperor Gui Shu. Even the more formidable leaders were at the emperor level and often acted alone, allowing Luo Feng's powerful avatar to escape. Of course, if he encountered too powerful a tribe or too terrifying a leader, there was still the risk of avatar obliteration. In the days that followed, Luo Feng occasionally explored the deep area of the dream domain, mainly focusing on cultivation. Because exploring the dream domain also came with risks. Once dead, he would lose an avatar with 1% energy reserve, which would need to be slowly recovered through cultivation. Naturally, he had to control the number of explorations. Moreover, he needed to ensure that his true body grew more massive, and that the energy absorption rate of the small universe exceeded the rate of energy consumed by dream domain exploration. Each time Luo Feng harvested precious treasures in the dream domain, he sent them to be stored with his outer layer avatar. When the team from the reincarnation tower arrived in the dream domain, Luo Feng would also take the opportunity to send a powerful avatar in. When the team left the dream domain, he also took the treasures he had accumulated out with them. Blade River Sect had absorbed the territories of Sha Kingdom, and a century had already passed in the blink of an eye. As the power controlling 155 primal chaos prefectures, the Blade River Sect was renowned throughout the land of origin. Today was a significant day for the entire Blade River Sect. The grand ceremony of Moyu Qingyang, the eldest disciple of the Blade River Sect, and Yu Shui Tianxin, the princess of Yu Kingdom, officially becoming husband and wife, was being held in Moyu Qingyang's fief, Qingyang City. Eldest brother and sister-in-law already have a child. I saw the little guy, he's not arrogant at all. I heard that both the sect master and the monarch of Yu country will be present. The whole Qingyang city was buzzing as countless people discussed the Daoist couple's celebration, and the sect master alongside the monarch of Yu country. Nowadays, there were 5 disciples of the Blade River sect who had reached the primal chaos realm. In terms of prestige, only the second disciple, Shen Yu, could match elder brother Moyu Qingyang. However, second disciple Shen Yu was entirely focused on cultivation, and had no interest in managing the sect's trivial matters. Only Moyu Qingyang, knowing the path of cultivation was hopeless for him, worked tirelessly. Morosa also gradually handed over more and more sect affairs to Moyu Qingyang. Nowadays, Moyu Qingyang could be considered the de facto chief steward of the Blade River sect. Luo Feng's power of the world could envelop the entire territory in a thought, and he had rooted out many moths within the sect, but Moyu Qingyang was diligent in his duties, which highly pleased Luo Feng. Second Master, this is Mo Yuxiu, my and Tianxin's child. Mo Yuxiu, this is your master Luo Sa, Moyu Qingyang said, holding hands with a beautiful and tall woman and a child. Master. The child Mo Yuxiu sweetly called out. Morosa laughed heartily as he picked up the child. This child is really well behaved. Father says that during his many years of cultivation, it is mainly master who taught him. Mo Yuxiu curiously looked at Morosa, knowing how often his father got kicked out by the second master. Ha ha, yes, it was mainly me who taught him. Morosa looked at the child. Mo Yuxiu, how about I teach you to cultivate in the future? Yes, Mo Yuxiu happily replied. Moyu Qingyang and Yu Shui Tianxin looked at each other. Both of them were Chaos Realm through the bloodline path. One was responsible for many affairs of the Blade River sect, and the other for many matters within Yu Kingdom. It was their collaboration that brought them together, and having resonated on many matters, they quickly came together and decided to have a Daoist couple celebration after having a child. At present, Morosa displayed power that transcended even the primal chaos realm. Moyu Qingyang and his wife, both being of the chaos realm through the bloodline path, naturally were more than willing to have Morosa teach their child. Qingyang, have more children, Morosa said with a laugh, I'll teach them all. You are somewhat slow by nature. I hope one of your children turns out to be a genius. Second master is willing to teach. I naturally could not ask for more, Moyu Qingyang smiled. Thank you, second master. Yu Shui Tianxin also expressed her gratitude. This is because on the land of origin, the stronger the powerhouse is, the less they wish to devote effort to teaching disciples. They needed to focus more on themselves. Morosa was still willing to teach their child, and they were naturally happy. If it were up to the great master Luo Feng hardly ever took the time to instruct even his direct disciples, let alone spend much attention. Suddenly, Morosa turned his head towards the distance. Moyu Qingyang and Yu Shui Tianxin also looked with some puzzlement towards the distance. Shortly after, two figures appeared out of nowhere. It was Luo Feng and the furry-looking Yu Shui country master. Master! Father! Moyu Qingyang and Yu Shui Tianxin both showed a measure of solemnity. Luo Feng smiled at the couple, both of whom were Chaos Realm through the bloodline path, and quite a match. Master, this is Qingyan's child, Mo Yuxiu, Morosa said from the side. Mo Yuxiu, greets master, Mo Yuxiu respectfully called out. Luo Feng nodded with a smile. I recently got a rare treasure that's perfect for nurturing a child's cultivation foundation, Luo Feng said and flipped his hand, taking out a jade box and opening it himself. Inside the jade box was a pale blue leaf with a natural fragrance that invigorated everyone around. From the side, Yu Shui country master couldn't help saying, Brother Luo that's too valuable. It was one of the treasures Luo Feng had obtained in the deeper areas of the dream domain, valued at about 8 million merit points, and very suitable for establishing a foundation for the young. I recently got it, and it just so happened I met the little fellow, and I happened to be preparing a gift for Qingyang. This is the fate between him and me, Luo Feng said with a smile. Indeed, such a rare treasure was one of the cheaper ones in his possession. Mo Yuxiu, don't hesitate to thank your master, Yu Shui country master urged. For Yu Shui country master, obtaining a treasure worth 8 million merit points was no small feat, especially after his true body was destroyed in Tianhe. Although Yu Shui country master's resurrection carrier also had a bloodline, it needed to be nurtured anew. Currently, Yu Shui country master, all the treasures and weapons secret treasures added up were worth about 1 billion merit points. He could not afford to spend 8 million merit points on a gift for his grandson. Nurturing any of his children never involved spending so much. The difference in strength by one level made a huge difference in the ability to obtain treasures. Individuals like Emperor Gui Shu, Wuxin God King, possessed many more treasures than Yu Shui country master. Time-space lonely boat master even had a stronger ability to obtain treasures. Like Luo Feng, his real strength was at an emperor level. Well beyond God King level, and having many avatars, his ability to obtain treasures was significantly stronger than that of ordinary emperors and monarchs. In Huyang City, at the city owner's mansion quiet room, inside the Star Tower, the majestic Luo Feng, with a perfect divine body, sat cross-legged. Next to him, another more vast world life form lay sleeping, as its true body, possessing over 100 times the perfect divine body's energy, was currently maintaining consciousness, which imposed a certain burden on his mind. Star Tower secret patterns contain endless mysteries, far deeper than any great Tao. Luo Feng's consciousness penetrated into the Star Tower, observing the infinite secret patterns. Luo Feng's cultivation focused primarily on understanding the Star Tower secret patterns. Assists like the special grade inheritances, world life form, and chaotic whole beast body, and the heavenly pillars of the heavenly pillar realm, these were all secondary. Ever since I began understanding the Star Tower secret patterns, I've always wanted to interpret the perceptions of the patterns through the Great Tao. I aim to use the Great Tao of life and death's 9 branches as a foundation to perfectly interpret the mysteries of the Star Tower. But unfortunately, Luo Feng shook his head lightly. Merging the 9 branches, could only interpret the parts he had understood. Even so, he still couldn't create a 9 branches fusion technique. These scales. Luo Feng's mind observed the blood-red scales gleaming with 12 colors, as well as the infinite secret patterns derived from the blood-red scales. Let alone the 9 branches technique. I haven't even devised the 8 branches fusion technique. The 9 branches of life and death tried to interpret the star tower secret patterns. Over the centuries, Luo Feng devised 2 6 branches fusion techniques, and 2 7 branches fusion techniques, still only scratching the surface of the star tower. The great Tao is boundless, but my life has been long, giving me ample time to slowly study. Luo Feng was satisfied with such a life, delving deeper into the mysteries, and getting closer to the essence of the world. Luo Feng felt fortunate to have the star tower. The greatest value of the star tower isn't as a weapon of war, but as a book. In the deep region of the dream domain, that most important rarity should be ripe, thought Luo Feng. In the past centuries, Luo Feng explored the deep layers of the dream domain only once per century. Each time he generally explored about 10 deep spaces until an avatar was fully depleted, then he would stop exploring. Each century, he lost no more than 1 avatar, roughly 30% of a perfect divine body. With this, Luo Feng's world life form continued to grow enormous. Over the centuries, I've superficially checked thousands of deep spaces, documenting many extraordinary rarities, thought Luo Feng. The rate of change in the deep spaces was much slower than in the outer and middle layers, and rarities grew even more slowly. Moreover, precious rarities are typically surrounded by stronger indigenous life forms. This rarity, over the centuries, is the only one I've found likely worth over 10 billion merit points. Luo Feng highly valued this rarity. Within his power scope, Luo Feng only found this one rarity valued over 10 billion merit points. Such rarities, estimated to be collected by powerhouses from the 2 ancient countries, ancestors of the East Extreme Domain, the Lord of 10,000 Realms, proved very scarce. In the deep region of the Dream Domain, in the crevice of a cliff, there grew an inconspicuous fruit tree, on which hung a black fruit faintly shining with a purple luster, a sight quite inconspicuous in the Dream Domain. The 1,000 Dreams fruit, worth 15 billion merit points, is finally about to ripen. I have waited for this day for a long time. A figure in a grey robe gazed at the fruit from afar. With this 1,000 Dreams fruit, plus what I've accumulated before, I should be able to gather a complete set of primordial bloodline of the ultimate realm. The 2 ancient countries are really greedy, setting the price at only 15 billion merit points for such a treasure, the figure in the grey robe thought. He was well aware. Rarities worth less than 10 billion merit points are useless to the ancestors of the 2 ancient countries and the 3 alien clans. Even 101 billion merit points rarities are pointless to them. But rarities worth more than 10 billion merit points are needed by the ancestors. Hence, these over 10 billion merit points rarities shouldn't be priced by the 2 ancient countries. Their actual value is much higher. The 1,000 Dreams fruit should be ripe now. A figure approached from the void, arriving close to the edge of the cliff. He wore a light golden robe, and his invisible fluctuations enveloped a vast area, also noticing the concealed figure in the grey robe. Di Jiufeng. The figure in the grey robe's expression changed. Who are you? Di Jiufeng looked at him. Don't you even dare to reveal your identity. The grey-robed figure chuckled softly. Never mind who I am. This 1,000 Dreams fruit, Di Jiufeng, you can't have it. Di Jiufeng looked into the distance. His control over the void was exceptionally wide-reaching, and he instantly locked on the newly arrived powerhouse. 2 more have come, Di Jiufeng grinned. A black river swept across the sky, condensing into a burly figure. A shadow spontaneously appeared, condensing into a figure in a purple robe. Di Wu, you've come too, Di Jiufeng looked at the burly figure, who was one of the 13 emperors of flame-wind ancient country, Di Wu, who cultivated the great Tao of life origin, and often left an avatar in the dream domain. I've also waited a long time for this thousand dreams fruit, Di Wu smiled, looking around. I just didn't expect two unfamiliar friends to be here. The four powerhouses watched each other. Suddenly, another figure entered this deep space zone, immediately detected by Di Wu's spatial domain. All four were somewhat surprised. A figure in a black robe and golden mask also arrived. This video will end here.